Hello, everyone. It's Krystal Lee Moore Lucia here, also known as your Home Sweet Home 519 Realtor, Krystal Lee Moore. This is Realtor Life, and I am so happy you're here. Today, we're going to be talking about some pretty important things, especially at this time in the market. We're recording this in June 2026, and the market's weird, guys. The industry is weird. The profession is weird. But as I keep being reminded, it is cyclical, right? So this too shall pass. When it's amazing, this too shall pass. And I thought it was a good time just to go into some pretty important topics and keep us all super motivated. So we're going to basically be talking about learning. Curiosity. We're going to be talking about the 1 to 3 things, and I'm excited to get into that. And also about taking off the cape. So let's just dive right in. Okay, so when we're talking about learning, learning comes in all sorts of different formats, right? And so I know I've mentioned before Notebook LM, which is really, really helpful when you're trying to kind of absorb a lot of information quickly. But I also was reminded recently that learning does not have to be just about the things you're supposed to be learning about, right? So it doesn't have to just be about your profession or in your box. I got to go to the Toronto Real Estate Association's, the Toronto Regional Real Estate Association, TREB's Realtor Quest event last month, and it was fantastic. So Michelle Obama spoke. It was very cool. Now, I didn't get to be in the room with Michelle, but I was front row in one of the spillover rooms, which was kind of a cool thing because I didn't think I was going to get to see her. I actually was leading a meeting beforehand, and in my Uber, got to see her motorcade go by. So I was like, oh no, I don't think I'm getting in. But as luck would have it, I actually got front row in a spillover room. And it was a really cool conversation that she had. Um, for all of our parents out there, it was a good parenting conversation. Um, and she reminded us that it's okay to help your kids get the skills they need, right? Like sometimes we want to protect them from life, but if you don't learn, then you won't learn, right? So I thought that was really cool. And then I also got to hear from Malcolm Gladwell. Now, guys, if you don't know who Malcolm Gladwell is, I'd be shocked. But he is the author of The Tipping Point, Revenge of the Tipping Point, David and Goliath, um, and so many others that I have read and are leaving my mind right now. But Malcolm stood on stage and talked to us about some of the key topics that he brings up in his podcast, which is called Revisionist History. And for the last 3 weeks, I've been all over this podcast. It's so good. And the reason I like it, and this is where I think a lot of us spend so much time learning about our craft, and that's important. But sometimes you just need to kind of exercise those muscles outside of it. And Malcolm likes to go around kind of the world and figure out what are things that we can look at differently. What are uncovering can you uncover the truth of some of these things? And so if you have a chance, take a listen. Revisionist History, it's on Spotify. I believe it's probably also on Apple, but it's and he's in collaboration with Pushkin Industries. So there are opportunities. If you sign up with Pushkin, you can get some bonus material. So way to fun free shout out to you, Malcolm and Pushkin. So one of the things that was really cool is that he talked about some pretty big issues, but he has one about Zootopia and the movie Zootopia, and it's actually a pretty deep situation. So the episode is a two-parter, so part one and part two, and he actually talks about Zootopia 1 and Zootopia 2 and why it is much, much more than a movie. So definitely check it out. But I actually ended up front row for Malcolm because I participated in a networking game. And my lesson to all of you is when you are given the chance to participate in a game, have some fun with it. So it ended up being we had to just go around at this kind of after the event party and collect business cards from each other. And I ended up collecting the most and I won front seat. And it was like really surreal because I also got to be front seat for Pinball Clemens. And Pinball Clemens is the coach for the Argos, I believe. I know. I was more of a Malcolm fan than a Pinball fan originally, but I am, after seeing Pinball speak, I am now also a Pinball fan. So, big fan of both. And here's the thing, if you get a chance to hear from a great speaker, it changes everything, right? There's always a takeaway, there's always a curiosity. And we're so lucky because you can go to like a TED Talk, you can go online, you can go to an event. My brother-in-law and a team put together this thing in London called Growth Day. And this was last week. And they had speakers come. We're actually going to have two of the speakers on our Realtor Life podcast. So very, very exciting. Um, both Sarah and Kaylee will be on soon. But it was so nice to see polished speakers with a message. And at some point, speakers that speak to entrepreneurs always touch on mindset, right? So, mindset is probably the most important thing as an entrepreneur because you can get your skills, you can do all these things, but if your mindset is it's depleted or negative, or you're just like, ugh, it's really hard to keep going. Finding that motivation can be really tough. And I had the opportunity today actually to speak to one of our upcoming guests, Dale Allen. So Dale's also a coach, and she's a conscious leadership coach. And we were talking about the fact that it's important to remember, as I mentioned, the cycles, right? So this too shall pass, this too shall pass. Like it it will it'll get better, it'll get worse, and it's going to keep being like that. So I don't know if you guys remember the poem Nothing Gold Can Stay by Robert Frost. It's one of my favorite poems, and it's very true. And it's basically, it goes, nature's first green is gold, her hardest hue to hold. Her early leaf's a flower, but only so an hour. Then dawn goes, um, then leaf subsides to leaf, so Eden sank to grief. So dawn goes down to day. Nothing gold can stay. And I remember being young. It's from the movie The Outsiders, if you want a little reference for pop culture. But I remember hearing that poem and being kind of sad at first because it's like, oh, like nothing remains. But it also makes it more beautiful because you have to appreciate it while it's here. And so it will always, like, the spring will always come again, right? So as we're looking at this real estate kind of ups and downs in different markets, mindset becomes so much more important because at the end of the day, you need to keep going in order to change your own circumstances, right? So when things do get busier, you want to be ready for that versus just letting it pass you by. So it's kind of cool, the mindset. But what I found, just to circle back, listening to Malcolm Gladwell, I love how he thinks. And the more you can practice thinking, and it sounds so crazy because I'm thinking all the time, but really thinking, like critical thinking, the kind of thinking you have to do in school, um, you'll look at things differently. Like I had a meeting with like a realtor group meeting where I lead this group and we have these great conversations. And we are talking about different things that we do um, in the line of our business to try and like really make sure things are okay. And so whether it's like digging in, asking more questions, doing more investigation, going above and beyond really is what we came up with. And so you can do that too, right? Like, and if you don't already do that, you can practice doing that by just listen to these things and think about them and go, oh, okay. Like he has one series, I think it's like eight episodes long. I told you I've been all over this for the last like few weeks. And it's called The Alabama Murders, and it's actually about a specific case, but where you really like dig in to understand some key issues. So yeah, really, really good stuff. And when we're looking at things that we can kind of to grow our mind. I know I've mentioned before I was doing improv. So I'm loving the improv. I did try out for the troupe, did not make it, but they have a great troupe, and I'm so excited to be part of the company and to be part of doing the jams. But it really is improv helps you think faster and think differently. And so whatever that means to you, do it, right? Because it's like you might be able to brainstorm to list a house or to get a house sold, or you might be able to think of different ways to meet clients, right? I was actually just talking to our daughter who was helping me for a little bit, and I just said like it's hard to understand if you're not in it, but all the things we do to support the business rely on us getting business, right? Like we have to get the clients to help us or to help buy and sell homes. Like that is the crux of it. The rest of it is all to support that. So if these sales can't happen, then the rest of it you can keep doing them, but at some point you have to sell houses, right? So it really comes down to making sure that however you can sharpen your mind, keep your mindset strong, keep your attitude positive. Those are the key things. Um, I also mentioned to the same group when we're looking at like who is in your circle, who's in your group. Like I I've mentioned that I have a problem sometimes letting go of situations or letting go of things, and not like in a grudge way. I'm not a grudge person, but like literally like letting go, like being like, okay, like this season with this person is done. We're gonna move on. Um, and I think it's my sense of community is very strong. And so sometimes, even in a situation that really isn't serving me or it's really not good for me, I'll hang on longer because I think I can make a difference. I think I can help, whatever it is. But that depletes you. Like that depletes the energy that you need to keep going. So take an inventory and just make sure that you are in the right situations, right? So a good sentence for that is don't go where you're tolerated, go where you are celebrated, right? And to the same point, don't be around people that you're just tolerating. Be around people that you want to celebrate, right? That's the energy you want. Those are the vibes, like that main character energy, whatever you want to call it, that is what we want. And you might not be able to find it every time, but finding like safe, awesome spaces is a huge part of it's your self-esteem, it's your confidence, it's your energy, it's the vibration that you're sending out and maybe attracting back, right? Huge. Okay, so very cool. We had, as I mentioned before, I run a lead tribes group here in London. So ours is the lead tribes 509 Rise group. It's a little bit of it's my old Rise group that we've moved to this platform, and it's very exciting because we're also bringing more people into this vibe. And one of our members, Mike, so Mike Pietzrak, I might be saying that wrong. Sorry, Mike. He is a leadership coach. And so he presented to us this week, and it was so good. He had us do an exercise, and I think this is a really good exercise for people to do. Probably supervised by a coach, but if you don't have time for that, try this, and then you can reach out to Mike separately. But it was about finding the 1 to 3 things in your business that matter most. So he had us kind of we did a mini version. We did 3 minutes, but he said usually like it can take a half an hour to an hour. But you write down everything you do in your business, everything. And not everything you do as a person, like you don't have to put like wake up and drink water but everything you do in your business. So it could be write notes, write offers, open houses, call clients, drive to appointments, networking, right? Like all of these things. So you write them all down. And then you have to circle one of them that is the most important for your business. And you do that 3 times. So 3 things that are the most important for your business. Like everything else kind of supports it. It could be there, it could be not. Those 3 things are the things. And I think what came the full circle was that what are the things that drive revenue? Um, and you have to make sure, right, that so let's say like we'll talk about networking in a second, but let's say networking doesn't do anything for you. As long as you're doing it properly, if it's still not working for you, then it might just be that you're not in the right circles, or maybe like you just show up and you're not using those relationships. But if you're not getting like revenue from the activity, there's something has to change, right? Um, and the same thing with like, let's say there's a lot, like sometimes when we went through the list, there might be things that maybe need to be delegated, right? So like if you're spending a lot of time, one of the members in our group was saying, invoicing and payroll, we're taking a lot of time. Now that's something that could be delegated, but that takes safety and trust. And that's actually what a lot of people brought up at the table is that we would love to delegate these things that are just they're not moving the needle. They have to be done and trust is necessary. So how do you get from here to there, right? So that's where definitely recommend a conversation with Mike. Um, yeah, he has like a consultation call where you can chat with him, but it's important to look at what we do. And especially at a time, guys, we're inundated. Like, I don't know about you, but like every time I look around, there's something else that I need to be focused on doing. Um, and I can't keep up sometimes. Like I'm a big fan of AI. So I have Claude and I have ChatGPT, and those are great. And then Marbleism just hopped on board. Now, Marbleism is, I'm going to say, so far, 2 weeks in, um, maybe one weekend actually, I'm actually really impressed. So, Marbleism is like an AI team of helpers that helps you get organized. So, there's an executive assistant that helps with your schedule and emails. Probably one of my favorite parts. There's a blog writer. There is a social media manager. There is a legal assistant, um, a sales consultant or sales agent, director, and then a receptionist. So I don't really use the receptionist. To be honest, like I'm not the, I think they need to work on that particular one. Um, but everything else seems to be great. The blog writer, we're trying to work on it, actually putting the blog to my website, but I'm working with my website team on that. But the rest of it is amazing. So I connected the social media to one of my other social media accounts because I have a Merlot Moon Marketing does my social media on my main account. But I'm like, let's test drive this thing. Let's see what's happening. I like it. It's really good. We had some kinks to work out. Like at first it was doing a weird version of my picture. And then it put me as like the other half of a couple, but with some guy that wasn't my husband. And the phone number was wrong. So I think with anything, you just have to teach it. And for some of the blog posts and the social media posts, I do have to edit the wording because it takes some liberties that we have to be careful about as realtors because we can't really take those liberties. The executive assistant part is great. It's actually like almost too great because she'll actually draft emails for reply, and I have to go in and like decide, can I tweak this? Should I delete it, redo it? Um, but it is saving me a lot of time, which is huge. And it's actually pretty reasonable. And I think I could onboard my assistant, which is kind of cool. So that leads me to networking differently. So I recently had lunch with a friend, and it's interesting because like we all look at things differently. And as an entrepreneur, and kind of a serial entrepreneur, sorry, Sarah, I'm not trying to take the name, but I am like I love networking. I love being a business owner, and I love connecting and helping. So when I look at the path of my journey, most of my friends I've met through networking, right? So would they get it? And I often say, like, if you move into being an entrepreneur from not, and your friends are not entrepreneurs, it gets weird, but not right away, but slowly it'll be weird because these these friends are well-meaning, but they probably start work at 9, they end at 5, and then that's it. Like, it's cool. As an entrepreneur, though, like your heart, your blood, your sweat, your tears, like it's all there. And so if something has to be done, you're going to do it. So at 7 p.m., you're still going to do it. And it's not a boundary thing, it's a passion thing, usually. But we were talking and we were just saying, like I said, I don't really always relate to not like non-entrepreneurs. Like it's sometimes tough. And she was like, well, she was very anti-networking. She's like, it really needs to be about relationships. And I think that, and I tried to explain, like, if you're networking properly, it is about relationships. It's just that we get it, right? Like, you get it that your livelihood, like you being able to continue in your life and pay your bills and travel, all these things, it all turns on business, which is very different than just having a job where you get paid. And the mindset for that is a lot. So for me, I like being around people that obviously I want them to know me and like me and trust me, and same thing in reverse. But as an entrepreneur, and I think most of you will understand this, you also want to be around people that care if you can pay your mortgage, right? Or they care if you make money. Like it matters to them, and that's why they support you and you support them, right? Like it matters to me that my friends who are entrepreneurs get business. It matters a lot. And sometimes it's hard to wrap your head around that if you're not, if you've only been around like networkers, like where it's like, hey, 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 it doesn't feel as authentic. But if you can master networking for relationship and really dig into supporting each other, it's a game changer, like game changer. Um, that said, I also took a lot from that conversation where it doesn't always have to be networking, right? Like maybe you're just having a fun conversation and you're talking about how fun it is to go to the beach. Um, I think out of habit, I would try to support and be like, oh, I actually know someone that sells like great beach shoes. So just to try to not do that, but we'll see. It's a work in progress. And then the other thing I just wanted to say, and this was a topic when we talked to the realtors yesterday, is you can't want it more than someone. And when I say that, I'm talking about clients, but even staff, right? Like we are so passionate as real estate professionals and entrepreneurs. And sometimes that passion will go into like, well, like, oh, like we can help you with your house sale, or we can help you with this product, or I'll help you with this job, whatever it is. But if you want it more than them, it's going to be frustrating for both of you, frustrating for you and frustrating for your client or your staff member. Like they need to show you that they want it. So if the house is for sale and you get an offer, this happened with my colleague who was just sharing yesterday. House is for sale, got an offer. It was very reasonable. And they just were like, no, absolutely not. And at the like, you have to decide at that point if you've done everything you can to show them the light, if they still don't want it, then it might just not be the right fit, right? And it sucks, but like versus just like keeping like trying to keep pushing and pushing. Same thing with like with staff, with assistants, with whoever. You can like explain things, you can show, but they need to get it, right? And that's kind of like when you find the ones that get it, they're like a unicorn. It's amazing. Um, but you can't want it more. And in the wonderful advice of Sue's coming, who is here, um, care a little less, right? So care because we do care, but care a little bit less, right? Like remember that at the end of the day, it is a job. Even if we love it, even if we're passionate, even if we love our clients, it is a job. And just like everyone else that does a job, you are allowed to have an end time. You're allowed to spend time with your family. You are allowed to go to the gym. You're allowed to sleep, right? So just remember that when, like, we had one of our colleagues who was so stressed out yesterday. And he was just like, when we really boiled it down, he hadn't let himself take a break because he had so many, like, all of this stuff happening. And he's like, normally I'm good at just like brushing it off, but it's too much. And then we reminded him, like, find the things that bring you joy, find the things that bring you happiness, because that's like, you can't pour from an empty cup. And this goes to everyone listening. You cannot pour from an empty cup. So, whatever it takes to bring the sparkle back in your eye, if it means you shut your phone off for one day and you let people know, um, maybe have someone cover it, whatever, right? Like I know I said shut your phone off for a day and someone out there, so you don't, there's a way around it, right? You can take that time. Moving into the summer months, sometimes it's a little bit easier. It will be a little bit slower. Take the time when you have the time, right? Because there's seasons that it will be super, super busy. September, October are going to be super, super busy. So you want that downtime so that you can be refreshed, excited, like being like raring to go. So that's pretty much it for today, guys. I hope everyone enjoyed it. We do have some great speakers coming up, so please follow, like, subscribe, share, comment, everything, all the things. It shows you care and it really, really matters. Um, just as a recap, stay curious, always be learning. Malcolm Gladwell, fabulous. I'm working on, I don't know if it's ever going to happen, but working on getting Malcolm on the podcast. Um, Putting it out there. And revisionist history, so good. Check out the Zootopia episodes, then watch Zootopia 2, and then I'd love to hear your thoughts. Um, Remember the 1 to 3 things. So take that time, that exercise that Mike gave, write out every single thing you do in your business, and then look and find the three most important that actually drive your business forward, drive revenue, whatever. Networking, remember relationship networking. You never want anyone to feel like you're trying to transact, like just transaction with them. It's about relationships and you can't want it more. So care a little less, take off the cape, guys. And that's pretty much it. So I'm Krystal Lee Lucier, also known as your Home Sweet Home 519 Realtor. Krystal Lee. This has been Realtor Life, and I'm so happy you were here. See you next time.